It's been 9 months since I moved into this apartment and decided to go completely furniture free in my life. So I thought I'd give you all an update on how that's actually going because I haven't specifically addressed it. And while I was super excited about it at the beginning, I wanted to let a certain amount of time pass to make sure it really did fit with my lifestyle. And I would say 9 months of living this way is a good amount of time to assess how it's been going. So rather than make this a clickbaity video where I ramble for 20 minutes to let you sit on the edge of your seat for the answer, I'm just gonna throw it out there and then explain myself. The answer is I absolutely love living without furniture and I do not miss it at all. It has become completely normal in my life and to the point where I sort of almost forget what it is like to have furniture. That doesn't mean if I go to someone's house, I'm like allergic to sitting on their couch or don't know how to properly sit at a table and chairs anymore. But the bigger issue it speaks to is how much what's normal to us as human beings is actually a very liquid thing and actually a very adaptable thing and a mutable thing that is changeable. So I wanted to address that today. Before I get into it, let me give a quick sort of overview as to what furniture free means to you all, because maybe somebody has a sort of different definition out there or is using it a little bit loosely. For me, it means I have absolutely no physical, hard furniture of normal things that you would have in at least an American home. Meaning I don't have a bed frame, I don't even have a traditional mattress or box spring. I have a Japanese style futon that lays directly on the floor. I do not have a couch. As you can see behind me, that little fuzzy blanket and pillow situation is my couch / seating area. I also do not have any sort of reading chairs or comfy cozy chairs, with the exception of I do have a folding chair on my balcony because my patio is concrete and sitting on cold concrete sucks. Nobody wants to do that. So I do have a sort of folding patio chair that I guess you could qualify as furniture-ish that sits on my patio, but within my home, there are no other chairs, and that includes having no table or chairs. I don't have a traditional dining table and chairs to sit at. I do not have a coffee table. I do not have a desk or anything to work at. So pretty much everything that I am doing inside is on the floor in that seating area. That's where I read. That's where I do work for my YouTube channel. That's where I eat my dinner. That's where I'll watch a movie on my phone. That's where I will relax. That's where I will meditate, ... fill in the blank. It's where pretty much all the things happen. So why did I lean into going furniture free? Well, it had sort of just been gnawing on me over the years in my journey to extreme minimalism, as I found the more and more I get rid of, there was never one giant declutter where I had a panic moment and said, shoot, I just let go of something really important and I made a mistake. In fact, the opposite was always true. The more I let go of, the more liberation I found. And as someone who naturally likes to move around a lot, I love to travel. I've changed addresses for work more times than I can count, changing for scenery. I love new environments and experiencing new places. And in years past, when I always had to move, the big giant closet was always a mess, but lugging around furniture, it's a pain in the ass. And I can certainly say anyone else who's moved knows that's the most daunting part of moving is you can never do it by yourself. You always need someone to help you. It's always really difficult to get up and down stairs and around corners. It can get damaged. You have to get a huge U-Haul truck to put everything in. It's expensive and it's just really overwhelming, which is why a lot of people actually end up trashing their furniture and moves. I was just sitting outside earlier on my patio and I have a beautiful view of the trees, but down below me is where the dumpster is, which it's fine, you know, it's an apartment complex, there's got to be a dumpster somewhere. But I look straight out and enjoy the trees. But what's funny is I get a view of this dumpster and the sort of social habits of everyone living around me in this really rather large apartment complex. I don't know how many units there are, but it's very big. So there's for sure hundreds of people here. And because it's in a large apartment complex, people are moving all the time. So I get front row seats literally to everyone throwing away all of their crap when they move. And it's honestly disturbing. And I'm not to say now that I'm a minimalist, I'm better than these people, because I came from a history where I would do a lot of the same things. Now I live in a much more balanced place where I don't need to be throwing away things when I move. But when watching people move and they have their trucks and they're still taking their essentials, but when it's so overwhelming and you come face to face with all the things you have, particularly furniture things that are heavy, things that are bulky, things that are difficult to move, people often just say, screw it, I can't do it, and they dump it. And I'm not saying this is actual just like trash junked things that aren't usable that are ending up in the dumpster. I've seen couches, I've seen mattresses, I've seen bed frames, I've seen whole dressers, I've seen loads of toys, and not just like a broken, falling apart toy. These are like, I saw a couple weeks ago, it was this like play doctor thing for toddlers or something, this big giant plastic contraption that was in perfectly good condition, but just chucked in the trash. I've seen shoes, I've seen whole tables, I've seen end tables, lamps, just perfectly good things just thrown in the trash. And this is just one dumpster in one pocket of America, but this is happening everywhere all over the world. And it is because people are just overwhelmed by their things. And when it comes time to move, just seems impossible. So the dumpster is the solution, but it's not a good solution because those things are just ending up in a landfill, which is tragic. And even if you donate these things, that's better. Hopefully they can find a new home, but the tragic reality of donating most things is that it really does end up in a landfill at the end of the day, because spoiler alert, most people just don't want your things. And this question has weighed on me so many times over the years as I've progressed throughout my minimalism journey. And coming back to why I wanted specifically to go furniture free is knowing how much I moved, knowing how much I did waste in the past and feeling guilty about that, and knowing how much each layer of release of possessions has given me incredible liberation. I really felt the call to just not have furniture, because I know I'm always going to have sort of nomadic gypsy tendencies, and furniture is always going to be a pain in the ass to move. And I love being self-reliant. I love the idea of being able to move just with my own two hands, not having to hire help, not having to bug a friend on their day off, not having to rent a U-Haul truck. So going into this this apartment that I moved into last June, I said I had furniture that was in a studio that it came with the studio, but it was very beautiful. But I said, screw it, I'm just going to take the deep dive into living without furniture. And if I find a couple weeks, a month into it that it totally sucks, like I'll go buy some secondhand furniture. I'm not going to live in just total destitute or suffer for the sake of proving a point and making life easier when I move, but hating when I'm actually in my home. So I set that sort of parameter for myself, and I sold actually all the furniture on Facebook Marketplace, which that's the best option you can do if you're looking to let go of your furniture, is selling directly to a person. A, you get some cash in your pocket, but B, you're making sure everything's going to a good home and saving it from the landfill. So it did take some time and sort of going back and forth texting random strangers on Facebook Marketplace, but at the end of the day, it was worth it. I felt much better about doing that versus throwing it in the dumpster or to donating it somewhere where it would probably just end up in a dumpster. But so I let go of all of my furniture and was able to move into my new place just completely in my little Volkswagen Beetle. I do have a video about that. It's called Watch Me Pack Everything I Own into My VW Bug, if you want to check that out. But the only thing that didn't fit, of course, is my mattress. I did order because I was transitioning to the futon. I did have to order a new one. So that did not fit in my car, but everything else did fit, and it felt awesome. It was so easy. It took like 15 minutes to unpack my car and move into my apartment, and it was extremely liberating and easy for the move. But getting to actual day-to-day life, how is it living without a table and chairs? How is it not having a couch to cush into at the end of the day? Well, it's totally awesome and fine. I do have carpet, so if you have hardwood floors, I can see how that would probably not be so comfy. But I have carpet, and as you can see behind me, it's a really fuzzy, squishy blanket. And then there's two, but they're cut out of the frame, two pillows that I can arrange however I like to. Usually they're just upright and I use them as like a backrest, but sometimes I'll put one in my lap and have my bowl of food on that. And that may seem totally, what's the word, like uncivilized or whatever. I'm sure some people have some judgments on that, but I just don't care. For me, it's comfy, and a lot of times I'll just lay straight down on the floor, which is actually, we have this idea that the more comfy and cloud and cushy a vessel is, whether it's a couch or a bed, the more like squishy, cozy it is. It's, you know, it feels nice in the moment, but that can actually cause a lot of damage to your spine down the line, and a lot of posture issues and a lot of joint pain. And I found that just laying down on the floor to relax after a hard day's work is great. It doesn't give me pain. It actually is really grounding and calming. I just put one of those pillows behind my head. So whether I'm laying down or sitting cross-legged or have my legs lounged out, or kind of put two pillows up and make a recliner type situation while I'm watching a movie. The thing with sitting on the floor is if you sit in one position too long, your body will kind of tell you, okay, it's time to shift, but then you just shift. And so it does sort of lend itself to natural, more frequent movements, but that's good for the body to just sit and clump in a couch or a office type chair on your computer for hours on end can again cause really serious joint and spinal issues that you don't want to get. So I found that sitting on the floor has given me a natural movement with adjusting my body when it's time to adjust it, and following a natural flow with that. On top of that, getting up and down off the floor. I understand if you are, say, in your more twilight years of life and your body's telling you it needs some more support and you don't want to sit on the floor, like fine, absolutely, like just don't do it. Or if you are, you know, have an injury or anything, like, okay, fine. This isn't a video saying everyone needs to throw out their couch, but I am speaking to something that is sort of outside of the grain of Western life and some benefits to it. And I found I've become really cognizant of when I am getting up and down the floor multiple times during the evening or morning, I'm using my muscles in a really great way. It's kind of like a deep power squat each time. And that feels good. The human body was designed to move in all of these different ways and use your own strength. If you don't have strength to get yourself up off the floor, then you shouldn't be going to the gym. Like, work on the strength to get up off the floor first, like before you go lift weights or run. Our bodies were designed to be so much more pliable and agile, and using our own strength. Like that's what, you know, the whole principle of calisthenics is using your own body weight the way it was designed to can actually keep you so much more stronger and prevent injury in a much more efficient way than just go pumping a bunch of weights or whatever. Not saying it's bad if you pump weights, like if you enjoy lifting weights, sure, but a lot of people are, especially I come back to, it's always in the West, but we're kind of off the deep end with certain mentalities in this culture of thinking you need to go like just crush yourself in the gym and punish your body, when just the act of getting up and down off the floor, it uses your core, uses your bum, uses your legs, or uses your arms if you're planking that way. Like, it's good to use your body in that way. And I found now that I am just living that floor life, I do really feel my body getting not like a 200 heart rate, whatever workout from it, but that's not necessarily good to push yourself to that level all the time. But I do feel my body used in a constructive and healthy way, a lot more than I would if I was just plopping into a chair and having the ease of getting up and down out of that chair, or getting up and down out of the couch, or a bed that's lifted off the ground. That's the same thing with my bed. Like I have to roll and then do a full squat to get up in the morning, and that's a good thing. I enjoy that. Maybe that doesn't sound appealing to you, but for me, I've enjoyed it. And as far as relaxing on the ground and eating my meals on the ground, I do eat most of my meals in silence. I've talked about this before on this channel. I find that just sitting on the ground and having silence and communion with my food helps me enjoy my meal on a much deeper level, helps me have a lot more gratitude for my meal, helps me be relaxed when I eat my meal. if you're eating your meal in a really stressed out or distracted state, you're not going to get the full benefit of your food, and you're probably going to have a harder time digesting it and assimilating all of the nutrients that you need to. So taking the time to really slow down and ground myself as much as I can. Yes, I'm on the 3rd floor of an apartment. It's not the same as grounding on a forest floor, but being close to, whatever your gravitational surfaces that you're sitting on, it really does have an effect on your whole physiological state. And I found eating on the floor is great. Again, I'm not I won't protest, and I've been to friends' houses for dinner, and if they have me sit at their table, I will gladly enjoy dinner at their table. I'm not this isn't some political movement of screw tables, I will never eat at a table again. But the challenge and the bigger thing I want to speak to is that we have these ideas and these rubrics of what is normal. And they seem sort of set in stone, almost as like 10 commandments or whatever, literally set in stone. Well, this is just how you do it. This is just what you need for a home. This is just how you have to do it as an adult. This is just what you do if you're civilized. This is just what you do if you're a functioning human being in society. And that's not just with furniture, that's with so many things, that we just give out these prescriptions of this is just what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times we don't stop and think, well, why are we doing this? And is this thing actually serving me? And I'm bringing this up today because maybe you still, even after watching this, you're like, this chick is crazy. I have no desire to get rid of my furniture. That's totally okay. I'm not saying everyone has to live like me. This is just my truth and what feels great for me. But I invite you to take the challenge of sort of asking that bigger question, because for me it was, I lived so long with this idea of, well, if I'm a respectable adult with a nice home and a good job, I just have to have furniture. Otherwise, that's embarrassing if I don't. But when I took the jump to finally let go of my furniture, it wasn't because I thought I needed it that I held off for so long to do it. I held off letting go because I was worried about what people would think of me. If I have someone over in my house, or if I show pictures of my home to people, what would people think? And when I finally decided to say, screw what people think, I'm going to do what feels right for me, it was liberating and awesome. And will I never have furniture again? I don't know. I'm open to, if I have a partner again someday and they're like, dude, I love you, but can we please have a table? Sure, yeah, that's okay. This is just my truth right now. But that bigger question I invite you to challenge yourself on is, where are these norms in my life where I'm just sort of following a prescription of what someone told me I have to do to have a nice home, to be a good neighbor, to be impressive on social media, to be a proper adult, to be able to get this job or whatever. It may not even be a physical thing you're owning, but it could be a behavior you're doing. There's so many things we're just sort of force-fed as in modern society of, you need to do this to be accepted by the tribe. And while some of them are helpful, a lot of them are harmful. And at the end of the day, what might be helpful for someone could be harmful for you. And following someone else's prescription of what you need in your life could actually be suffocating you. And in my case, that's what it was for prior to my minimalism journey. I do have a video titled How I Became an Ultra Minimalist that talks to the way bigger journey of this if you're interested in that. But I found that following these prescriptions of having this big fancy couch and a glass coffee table and perfect dishes and wine glasses to entertain and all this artwork around my house, well, it fit the prescription of success in society and normal adult. It was suffocating me and really causing damage to my life. So I invite you to ask this question for yourself today and see, what is it around my home that I have just because I think I should have? What could I let go of in my life that would liberate me? What habit am I doing? How am I dressing in a way to fulfill someone else's prescription and someone else's definition of what success or etiquette or functionality looks like, but what that's actually making me feel like I can't breathe? What could I let go of in my life that doesn't fit the norms of what people say I should be doing, but would actually let me thrive? Because your life is your life and your path is your path, and your journey will look like no one else's. And if you can sort of take the filters off and begin to see what your truth is, you're going to have a lot more abundant and rich experience that actually serves you. And on top of that, when it is physical things, if you do get into this habit of decluttering and finding exactly what works for you and then tailoring down your shopping habits so where you're not just accumulating more and more and more over the years and becoming one of those people that tosses things in the dumpster when you have to move, or when you pass on, realizing, well, you won't realize, but those who are left behind will realize that most people just don't want your stuff when you go. So you can ask yourself and challenge yourself to see what you could let go of, to where you can be more in alignment with your truth and be serving the planet in a better way. All right, that's the message for today, friends. Let me know how that lands. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.